Hope you guys had a great Sunday and a better Monday. Uh, something some people are going to be offended, but they shouldn't be because I mean it is what it is. It is the truth in this world uh, as we know it. And I'm gonna give you a couple of stories and then get into the to give you a little background into what I'm about to talk about. I remember this guy went home, had been home in a while. He's sitting there talking to his mom on the porch, and there's this kid walking down the street, and he's known this kid uh, forever because he went to school with his older brother. And for some reason, his mother said, "Hey, here comes your brother," which he's looking for his actual brother, you know. And he says, "Where is he? I don't see him." He said, "Right there, walking up towards you." I said, "He only sees his one kid, and his name was Casey." He said, "Well, that's his brother. That's your brother." He's like, "That's not my brother." She said, "Look at it." And looked at him and like, wow, look just like his father. So, in saying that, that guy was 33 years old when he found out he had another brother, which he knew he had another brother and two sisters outside my father doing what he was doing. And I just gave it away because the dude was me. I was 33 when I found out I had another brother. And I known this kid pretty much all his life. Never knew he was my brother. Okay. So that tells you what my father was doing while he was married to my mother. And the bad thing about it is this kid's mother was the wife of one of my father's best friends. Yeah, I was shocked. So anyway, the other story is about this young lady that all her life she felt like the father that she'd known wasn't really her father. Didn't look like him. None of her brothers or sisters looked like him, or brothers because she don't have sisters. And it's like, and she kept asking, who's my father? And of course, her mother kept being dishonest instead of telling her, well, your father's such and such or whatever. More worried about appearances because uh, her father was married, or who she suspected to be a father. So God blessed her to a cousin, who's not her cousin, said accepted her. She did a little genealogy or whatever, found out who her people was. She started reaching out to different people, and this young lady reached out to her, and they got together, and they started doing all these backgrounds and this and that or whatever, and seen a picture of her father, and then looked at herself and said, "Well, it's got to be my dad." So she did the DNA test, and come to find out that was her real father. Now, the bad part about it is her father passed away before she could ever know who he was, have a conversation with him, find out what happened, or anything like that. So her mother robbed her of valuable years of knowing her father and being with her father, all because of her BS, of being promiscuous and whatever you want to call it. I call it just being a hoe. And some people are going to be upset by what I say. I'm sorry. I didn't create it. The truth is the truth. Okay? Get over it. And I lied to this person for years, you know. And the reason why it's so close to my heart because that was my wife. And she never had time to spend with her father, find out what her father was like. Now, it's a good thing that his family has welcomed her into the fold, and she enjoys getting to know him and everything. But, that doesn't sit well with me. And I'm going to leave it at that because I'll get upset and I might say some things that, I don't want to say. And the point I bring those stories up is you're having children, okay? First of all, to be sure, don't have sex. Well, we know that's not going to happen, okay? But you have these men and women going out here, sleeping around, multiple partners, end up getting pregnant, either on purpose, by mistake. To me, that child is not a mistake. Now, what you did, you may not have meant for it to happen, but what do you think is going to happen when you have random sex? Sooner or later, snake is going to jump up and bite you. You can play with it all day, but you're gonna have to pay the piper. Now, the bad part about that is when you go to court or whatever, and you know it may be a question in your mind who the man is, but you pick one guy or one, one guy said, well, he's the father. I know he's the father. Then when it's found out he's not the father, now you got to figure out who it was. Now, the bad thing about it is you guys, watched this one guy on a video and said, oh man, that's messed up. I didn't want any children. Well, you laid down with him, you know, and the only way you could have made sure is not have sex with, because condoms are not 100%. Birth control is not 100%, So the thing is, before you open your legs or you put your meat missile in somebody, you know, you should really realize, oh, okay, I'm rolling the dice. I get some kind of disease or whatever, or that person could get pregnant, you know. So do I want to make that attempt? If I'm not planning on being with her, then I personally wouldn't do it. But things happen. Sometimes we don't mean for it to happen, it does. But the problem I got is some people shouldn't have children. And a prime example is this woman's in the club, been in there for hours. Her baby is maybe a year old, in a car seat, crying. And these people that come out of the club see the baby, so they had to break her window to get the baby out. Now, what do you think the first thing she said? Yeah, why'd y'all break my window? Not is the baby okay? Y'all shouldn't have broke my window. I had the keys. You could have came and got me. Now, first of all, how did they know whose car it was, or who the mother was? Okay, and I'm not even going to be thinking about that. I'm gonna be thinking about trying to get that baby out of the car, especially when it's hot. But what kind of woman will do that to a child? That's just disgusting and disgraceful. And if you want to go out to the club or whatever, where's the father? Did you not ask him? Can he watch it now? You sorry ass men, you can't worry about what a woman wants to do. Okay. If she wants to go out or whatever, and that's your child, now there's limits, but I would say, okay, no problem. As much time as I can spend with that child, I'm good with it. But you need a life too. So you can't be no babysitter all the time. If that's the case, take custody of the child, and you women. It's okay if you want to go out every now and then. Everybody needs a break. But don't you dare leave your children in a car or anywhere where nobody's watching them, nobody knows or cares what they're doing or whatever. But some babysitters you hire or some family members, they'll be there, but they don't care what the child is doing as long as it's not bothering them. I'm not saying it's everybody, but we know that does happen. Okay? We got to stop these random having children out there. If you don't want it, like I applaud this woman. I don't agree with it, but I applaud the fact that she had three children. She realized she couldn't do it. Okay? So she dropped them off to foster care. Now, they're not responsible for what your actions did. They're not responsible for coming into the world. Okay? So that part I don't agree with because you had those children. They're your responsibility and not someone else's. And if you don't want to handle the responsibility, do not have children. Period. And y'all put all this lying talking about, well, he's my baby daddy, and I know he's my baby daddy. And then come to find out this man is raising this child for years or whatever, and just happen to have a paternity or DNA test and find out he's been spending all that money. And then you mad because he sue you, he say you want all that money back. Or then you tell him, oh, you going to take care of that child. That baby loves you. Yes, I'm sure that baby does love him, and I'm sure that man loves him. But that's not his child, okay? It's not his child. Imagine if I sit there, I have a child, you're not the mother, okay? And I cheated on you to have this child. Now, how can I get mad at you because you don't want anything to do with it? It's not your child. Okay, now there are women out there that are strong women say, you know what? Okay, we're gonna move forward, we're gonna work through it or whatever. If they choose to stay together, but they have every right to walk away. But if they choose to stay there and treat that child right, like it was their own child, I have much respect for them. Okay, men, we also know that you know we accept that responsibility of being with that woman, and she has a child. Okay, you got a choice: step off or step up. It's only two. Okay, because the child has nothing to do with it. And once you get in that child's life, don't you dare walk away from it because you want to hit it, quit it. Then if that was the situation, don't get involved in it. Stay away, go about your business. Play their legs out there that are open, if that's what you want to do. Okay, but don't make that child pay for your mistake. Okay. Now the other issue is why are we sitting here? You know, politics. I talk about it. Don't make a big deal about it. Okay, but I, the government, or any right or else doesn't have a woman the right to tell them what to do with their body. Okay, period. You don't have that kind of power. You're not God. None of us are. Okay, so if that woman wants to get an abortion, okay, that's her choice. I don't agree with abortions, but like I said, I don't have the right to tell a woman what she can and can't do. Okay, the government doesn't have a right. To me, you're overstepping your bounds by getting personal. Okay, it's not politics. You're not trying to get votes. And then you're sitting there lying, talking about, oh yeah, this, we're gonna let the states handle it and all that. And I'm picking on Harris or Trump. I'm just saying in general because they weren't the only two that were behind that. Just come out and be truthful. I can handle the truth a lot better than you sitting there lying, and I know you're lying. Okay, just to get a vote. Does that mean you give a damn about me? No, probably not. All you care about is a vote. That's why you see politicians come around when it's election time. Then you don't see them again for another 2 to 4 years. Okay. That being said, that's another topic. Okay. But I just don't get why people don't want children, take the risk of having unprotected sex or the risk of sleeping with random people and the possibility of getting pregnant is there. Okay. You men, if you do that, take responsibility. Okay, pay child support. Ain't no way in hell $25 a month is gonna take care of a child. Hell, you can't buy a can of milk or a case of milk for $25, right? So just because the government may fail that woman and not give her what she needs, you should do the right thing. That's your child. If you prove that's your child. Now, if it's not your child, that woman got some nerve to tell me, hey, you know, that baby loves you and you gonna take care of it. I'll be damned. You can say it all you want to, but you say it walking, okay? And you can say it to my black ass because I'll be walking. Excuse me. It is what it is. You cannot make somebody take care of somebody else's responsibility. Because what about the man who's actually father? What? He have 10, 11 babies and he doesn't provide for any of them? I guarantee you, you put 10, 11 child support cases on his ass, he'll stop that. So having all these children, you don't want children, okay? And then you got these women. Okay, listen, I'm in the dating scene, not literally, but I'm using myself as an example as usual. Okay, and a woman comes to me and say, "Well, I'm 44 years old. I have 4 children by 4 different fathers." Swipe. Ain't no way in hell I'm a dater. Because one, if you got 4 different fathers, here's another 7-Eleven open all the time. Okay, no self-respect. Okay, I mean now, are they close in age? Doesn't matter. You having 4 different fathers. What did that say about you? Okay, and no, we don't have the right to judge, but let's just call it what it is. You know, Women, I'm sorry, I'm going to tell you the secret to finding a good brother. Okay. One is if if you have 2 children by one father, we'll accept that. If you have 2 children by 2 different fathers, and red flag, white. Okay. Now, some of us will accept another man's child, like I said, but that comes with a price too. Because if you're sitting there shoo into your baby daddy behind his back, that's not going to work. And that man's going to walk. Or it's a matter of that baby daddy don't want you, but he don't want nobody else to want you, to have you, and he's causing drama. Nope, step off. We're not dealing with that. Okay, but if you're sitting there and the thing about it is, be straight, come correct. You know, don't be embarrassed. Okay, you can be shameful, so to speak, or not proud of what you've done, but don't even be embarrassed because you can't change it. All you can do is reflect, become a better person from it. Okay. So you put your cards on the table and sit there and say, okay, I have children. This is why I have children. This is how many I have. That situation or whatever. Let that man have a choice on whether he want to stay or walk away. Don't you dare take that choice from him. Same thing with a man. If you got 5 or 6 kids, okay, and this woman has money, or even whether she doesn't have money, but she cares for you, and you're like, oh, I only have 2 kids. Then when she get with you and she fell in love with you, then you say, oh, by the way, I got 3 more kids. It's not fair to her. Okay, not fair at all. And don't be surprised she said, well, shit, you ain't gonna have the money to take care of my family along with your family. And she had this legitimate beef. Okay, because if you're working together or trying to work together to establish something, and all your money's going out and she's paying all the bills, that's not right. It's not fair. So I don't blame her for walking away. Okay. I mean, you were dishonest at first. Okay. So, and don't be so dishonest where you make it seem like your children don't mean anything. It means more about you trying to get in than trying to be up on the right level. Trying to be fair, trying to be honest. You know, all this undercover, under the table stuff, it's never going to get you anywhere. Now, that being said, like I said, I'm not picking on anybody. As you see, I talk about men and women. But let's just call it what it is. Men can't have children. Okay. And the bottom line, women, is if you roll a dice and you get pregnant by somebody that's a side dude or somebody you don't really care about, but they provide you some kind of support or money or whatever, okay, and you get pregnant and you don't want that child, the right thing to do is to say to this man is, listen, I'm not prepared. I don't want this child, and I prefer not to have it. Give that man the option to say that he will take care of that child. Fine, it is his. Now, you can't be rolling the dice and he can't change his mind, especially if he's not the father and you got a child that you didn't want. I get it. It sucks. Okay. But this is all about making your intentions known from the beginning. Okay. And if you sit there and make that conscious decision to lay with this man or woman and the child is a result of it, y'all can do whatever to each other. Don't you dare make that child pay for your actions. It's not right. Okay. And you done married people out here. Okay. If you're not happy with your husband or what, or your wife, like I said, explain to them why. And if you don't think it can work or whatever, then okay, seek counseling. But once again, like I said, is you guys know yourself better than a counselor do. But they will give you the tools to help make you uh, maybe make the right decision and maybe not. But you can exhaust every avenue. Okay, was a therapist, marriage counselor, whatever. Okay. But if you know in your heart you're just not happy or you're not attracted or whatever, and to me, saying I'm no longer attracted to you is horseshit. Okay. Because the person gained weight or they had an accident or whatever. What kind of shit is that? For better or for worse? Okay. And what that means to me is physical attributes or anything like that. Now, if a person turns attitudes is just crappy or whatever the case may be, I get that. Okay. You have every means to walk or reason to walk away or whatever. Okay. But you should exhaust every avenue before you make the decision, especially if there's children involved. Because it's going to be a no-win situation. Okay. Somebody's not going to be happy. But if you stay in a marriage or in a relationship and you're not happy and you're staying for the children, that's not good either. Because you're not happy. You're going to act a certain kind of way. You're not going to want to come home. Okay. Who's suffering? The children and you, and maybe you're not happy and you're taking it out on your children. Okay. That's not fair either. So, like I said, if you don't want to be there, get out. Okay. Yes, there's going to be hurt involved. Yes, there's going to be certain things going to be said. But one thing we should never do, ever do, is bring your children into adult conversations. Do not talk bad about either one. to your children. Okay, turning a man against his children, or I mean, a children against his father, or the children against the mother. No, that ain't cool. It ain't right. Okay, the best thing to do is your relationship between your wife, your girlfriend, and mother, father. That is your relationship. Keep children out of it. Keep a child in a child's place. Okay. Now, I hope this has helped a few people. And like I said, chances are keeping your legs closed or you meet out of somebody, it's not going to happen. But realize that too comes with a price. Be prepared to pay it. Okay. Step up. Brothers, I'm talking to you now. You have a child. Okay. You don't love this woman. Okay. I get it. She was a booty call, random, side chick, whatever. Cross that line, then step up and be a man. Don't sit there and walk away. Next thing you know, you got another one and another one. Okay. Sometime, sooner or later, you got to grow up. And going back to the story about my brother, who I didn't know about till I was 33 years old. Now, I had questions why my mother never told me. Okay. I had questions why my father never told me. Okay. Now, my father had passed, so I couldn't ask him. Okay. And we didn't have a good relationship because my father was a butthole. He's very mean, and I don't care who in my family doesn't like it. It is what it is. Okay. And I don't need therapy or anything like that. I call it the way I see it. And he did a lot of, I mean, I've watched him beat my mother in front of me. And I was 5 or 6 years old, you know. And that's why my father's mother, my grandmother, I loved her to death. Because she put a gun to his head, said if he put his hand on my mother again, she gonna blow his brains out. But everybody else in my family seemed to be scared to say him because they thought he was crazy. Well, he wasn't that damn crazy. Okay. Now, once my grandmother was 5 feet, but they respected her because when she got mad, wow, everybody ran for the hills. Okay. But she's a sweet old lady until you did her wrong or did something wrong. Okay. And I made peace with my father. Okay. And the reason why I'm saying all this, you can have different things, that go on where you kind of separate from your children. Okay. But you want to bring them back together. You want to be close. Okay. Now, my father ran the streets. So I never really saw him from Monday through Friday. He worked. Friday night to Sunday night, he was out in the streets. Never saw him. Okay. We didn't have a lot of things growing up because he was good timing. Okay. And when my mother finally left my father, he went and bought him a house and all that. He wasn't providing a lot from him. My mother got a job, and I moved with her. My two sisters and brothers stayed with my father. Okay. Now, I wasn't close to my father because he was always partying, and I wasn't a party person. And I don't believe in having people over your house every weekend. And I told him one day, I said, listen, you are partying, if something happens, you're going to see who your real friends are. He had a stroke, and all his so called friends started coming around because he couldn't have the party and the free liquor every Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon. He had some people on. This was every weekend. And once he had that stroke, didn't have that kind of money because he's on a fixed income because he had to retire or whatever. All his so-called friends left him alone. Okay, some of his friends left him alone because he's sleeping with their wives and girlfriend. Like I said, my father was scandalous. It is what it is. Okay, and that's why a lot of his friends left him. He only had one friend or two friends that stuck by him. Okay, and that's sad because I could have held all that against him. I didn't forget it, but I forgave him. So after he had a stroke, I moved there to help take care of her. Okay. And I didn't have to, but that was my father. Okay. Did I love him? That's a hard question to answer, you know, because he's done so much damage in my life and other people's lives. Okay. I didn't respect him, but I just knew that He had no one else to take care of him. All his friends, they wasn't there for him. Okay. So I felt like that's the least I could do. Okay. Didn't hold a grudge. Now I did have a conversation with him, and that's the first time I ever saw my father cry, because I told him about himself and how things were done. And now he's getting it back. And no matter what you do and how you do it, eventually you're going to get it back. That's what I believe. Okay. You can get away with it for 30, 40, 50 years or whatever. But sooner or later, the price got to be paid. Okay. And unfortunately, my father pretty much died alone, because I mean, I had a family. I had them that move away or whatever while my sister took care. And I'm not going to get into that because that's a very touchy subject. Okay, maybe I might need some therapy. I don't know. Uh, but no, I'm at peace with it. Okay. And what I'm saying is, parents, you only have so much time on this world. You know, you can't come back 40 years. Now, if it's not your fault or you didn't know about the child, that's one thing. But if you know about that child and you turn your back on that child, then 40 or 50 years later, when you got some kind of illness or whatever, or you need a kidney or whatever the case may be, that child has every right to tell you to go to hell. Okay. Now, hopefully that's not the case. Okay. But it'll take a strong person to step up and say, okay, I'll give you my kidney to help you, even though I don't know who you are. Now, I don't have a relationship with you, but that's your father or even your mother, whatever the case may be. Like I said, sooner or later you got to pay the price. So if you turn your back on those children and never want to have a relationship ever again, and then when you need them most, they have every right not to be there for you. Okay. Now, I'm not as close to my children as I want to be. Okay. I would love it. God knows I would love it. Okay. I can't change what has happened, but I can try to make it better going forward. Okay. And that's what I've been trying to do. Now, this goes back to I can't say what has been said about me, and it's not any of my business. But I've always said the two sides of every story. Now, if that child tends to believe the mother or the father, okay, and not even have a conversation, especially when they're grown, okay, to find out what truly happened, they may find out that that other parent was lying the whole time, okay? Like, for instance, this guy sitting there, and his mother had been lying and lying and lying, and then tell him, if you talk to your dad, I'm gonna just on you, just all kind of silly stuff. And finally, when he talked to his father, he found out there was another side to the story. And the guy got his parents together and talked to both of them, and come to find out the mother had been lying all the time. And I'm not picking on you women, I'm just using the story. The mother had been lying all the time, talking bad about the father. And the father was nothing like the mother portrayed him. Fathers do the same thing. They sit there and call your mother whores, and she was out there, she was side chicks, and all this other stuff. Like I said, keep children out of it. Even if they're grown, it's still none of their business. Okay? And if that parent, whether it's him or her, decide to say something negative, okay, let it go. That's just their word. Okay? Now, you let that child choose if you want to know the truth. If they don't, ain't nothing you can do about it. But I don't think it's right to go ahead and talk bad about the woman or bad about the man. You know, children are pretty smart. They'll figure it out eventually. You know, so it's always good to try to have a relationship. Sometimes you can't, for whatever reason or not. You got to make the best of it. Okay. But I know when I close my eyes, I want my children around me. I want my grandchildren around me, you know, and other family members that I love and respect. Okay. I want them around me. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know. Okay. But to me, that's the perfect way to go. Okay. And like I said, all these things I say are my opinion. No one else's. Not professional psychiatrist or anything like that. You know. So sorry for being long-winded, but it's another topic that, cause, I mean, I just read it all day, and I never watched that Maury crap or whatever, because some of it just seemed, you know, Who's doing cartwheels on the stage and whatever. A lot of seems like it's BS. But we do know that this happens in real life. You know, men don't sit there and tell a woman, "Hey, that ain't my bastard." Well, it could be. And why would you call that child that? It had nothing to do with it. You know, women sit there and say, "That's your son or your daughter, and you gonna raise him." Really? And you know you pregnant for another man? Yeah, that ain't gonna fly. Men stand your ground. And yeah, I'm not gonna call weak men. Okay, there's men out there that are willing to settle. Okay, they haven't really been in the dating scene. They're not really don't have any game or whatever or the gift of gab. Okay, so they take what they can get, and women do that too. You know, and they're willing to accept horrible treatment just to have somebody in their life. Be stronger. Realize it's okay to be by yourself. Do you want to be? I get it if you don't want to be, but don't take the abuse. You know, don't take the embarrassment. Don't take the shame of being with somebody just so you can be with somebody. Okay? There's other things to do to occupy your time. You know, you just got to find out your spot or your place in this world. Okay? And eventually, someone will see you. Now, don't tell me this horse shit. There ain't no good men out here. There ain't no good women out here. Because that's a lie. Okay? Because there is. Okay? There truly is. But a lot of them have bad luck. They run into these whores, men and women. Okay? And they take advantage of it. That sours them on um, dating, relationships, or anything like that. Okay? But you just can't lay down because you get kicked. You know, you got to get back up. But learn from it. Don't stay in the same rut, dating the same people, because it's going to be the same result. Okay? Try something new. And I don't mean, okay, whereas all men are the same, so I'm going to start dating women. That's bullshit. Okay? Or all women are the same, so I'm going to start taking date men. You're crazy as hell. Okay? Because no matter which sex it is, no matter what race, you're going to have horrible people using people, hypocrites in every race and both sexes. Okay? It's a matter of choices. If you make a mistake, pick the wrong one, deal with it, grow from it, learn from it, then move on. Easier said than done, I get it. Okay? But to say there's not any good people out here, no. Look about where you're shopping. Okay? That head of lettuce might be stale as hell. Or it might be one of those packs. You know they how the ground beef where they have the nice juicy red meat on the top, then in the in the middle just brown as hell. Okay, you got to get past the surface. I'm not saying you got to be uh, Inspector Gadget, private detective, because then that looks like trust issues. Okay, and y'all start googling and shit because somebody trying to find out somebody. What happened to just good old fashioned trust? Okay, because you will see or you will find out eventually. Okay, if you Google my ass, I already know you got trust issues, and I got a problem because one, that's invasion of my privacy, and don't y'all know that it takes months to update a database? Now, being an engineer, I know that from experience. Okay, but you just sit there, well, you still married, and you got this, you got this, but that was 6 months to a year ago. That man may have gotten a divorce or, whatever. And now you're sitting there and played your hand because you got trust issues. What a man's past or woman's past is none of your damn business. Okay. If you want to know, you ask that person. That's what we do. That's what true faith, true trust, okay, is. You leave it in the dark until it comes to the light. Yeah, you can say whatever. You can say I'm an idiot. I'm just blowing smoke or whatever the case. I'm delusional. Okay, but it comes out a lot better than you sitting there. Well, let me see your phone. I got to say now. Get back to the phone. If You go, let's say you were eating, y'all at the dinner table, you sit by each other, and you go to reach for the salt. The first thing the person do is he grabs the phone. He might have a reason to start looking. Because why would it? You just reach for the salt, but he thinks you're grabbing his phone. Okay, may have something to hide on that phone, but still, you got to trust it until you see it for yourself. You can't go by what somebody says because there are people out here that want what you got, and they'll lie. Oh yeah, they'll lie. Even your best friend might sit there and say, or some of your friends or acquaintances might see what you have and want it for themselves. Okay, but even that is stupid because that couple may mesh. Okay, doesn't mean you and that person are gonna mesh. Okay, because it's all about compromise, give or take, or whatever. And there's just sometimes you just hit it off. Okay, but that don't mean you try to break up the relationship or the marriage and think it's going to be the same for you. Not necessarily. Okay. So, and here's another thing. If you leave your partner because they got more money, got a nicer house or whatever, then what does that say about you? So that means every time somebody comes on, have a few more dollars or a few more material things than that person, you're going to leave. Uh, that makes a lot of sense too. But anyway, I've talked to you guys long enough, and I just wanted to make those few points known. And like I said, be careful of what you're doing, who you're sleeping with, and most of all, why you're sleeping with them. Okay, 18 years is a long time for child support. Okay, 18 years is a long time for not having a baby's father in their life. And the last thing is, 18 years is a long time to sit there and lie to a person knowing they're not the father. You know, think about it. Stop, listen, learn. Have a good evening. We'll holler at y'all later.